Alright, ladies and gentlemen, in this one we're going to be installing our A Premium carburetor on our 88 Corolla FX. We're going to go through all the steps, things you got to hook up, etc., etc., things I'm going to do. The first start, see what we got to tune up, etc. Yeah, and I'm pretty stoked, so let's just get into it. Alrighty, so the first thing I'm going to go ahead and do is swap out my spark plugs. I have some O'Reilly's brand Autolite coppers in there. After all this running rich, they are fuel fouled beyond belief. And if putting a new carb in, starting over, it doesn't hurt to start over with some new plugs. This is all they had available at the store, NGK Platinums, and these are pretty good plugs as it is. So I'm going to go ahead and get these guys put in real quick. Just to show you guys what your plugs should not look like. This will focus in. So there's a, 4 fuel fouled spark plugs. They're real ashy, they smell like gas, they're soaked. There's what a nice new spark plug looks like. If your plugs look like that, something's not right. So you want something close to that. Now that the plugs are in, we can get to installing our carb. On a quick side note, if you have one of these cars, you might be noticing something is missing. There actually would have been a big tin kind of shield that sat right there. So basically it goes intake manifold, gasket, this heat plate, gasket, tin heat shield, gasket, carburetor. I thought that, with more gaskets, more potential leaks, which is technically true. So I took the shield off, and now it's a bit cleaner of a look. For all you people wondering if you need to keep the heat shield, or the heat plate, sorry, the answer is yes. People that swab Webers onto these things say you got to keep them so the fuel doesn't boil before going into the intake and causing a bunch of problems. So I'm just gonna leave it there. Seems to work. So yeah. And of course, you also need it to run your PCV valve, which leads right up to here, and that's where that guy is. So that being said, I'll put the carb on. Once the carb goes on, the AC valve or vacuum diaphragm sits on top of the carb. So I'll get that on real quick. All right, so it's sitting on here. First thing I ran into is that this was kind of a very close fit with the vacuum operated secondary. I had to kind of sit it in there at kind of like at an angle like this, and then just push, and I'm guessing something kind of started to bend out of the way here, just enough to clear. But yeah, that was a tight fit. Otherwise, if yours doesn't fit, you can maybe try shaving down this bracket, but I just forced it in there and it's sitting on there. Sure does look shinier than the rest of the engine bay. And like I was saying before, this is gonna perch up on top. It's kind of down, up and over sort of action, or corner kind of up first. Then it's sitting on there, and then the AC guy, when you turn the AC on, it will pull and idle up your throttle. So yeah, that's sitting on there. Things to note, our evap vent does not go anywhere now, so that's going to be kind of interesting. We only have one vent here anymore. That was a lot of vacuum ones actually missing. Pretty sweet, not gonna lie. So yeah, I'm gonna start getting some of the stuff routed, and I'll tell you what we find. Something to note on the install. Way easier to get to these bolts now with this choke pull-off diaphragm gone. However, the back one here, you got to use a 13 wrench to get to instead of using just your socket, because that evap line going to the carburetor is in the way of a straight shot with the socket. So just thought I'd note that. All right, it's all installed. This is kind of just half wired in for now. I'm actually going to cut this off and just add regular old crimp connectors there. But as far as the vacuum lines we have left, we have this one that doesn't go to anything anymore, doesn't go to that extra diaphragm down there. Same with this. This one right here would have had one, but it broke off, so it's been sealed off. This doesn't go to our other choke pull off. This doesn't go to this vent here. This doesn't go to a random one that was down on the side. Then back here, this one doesn't go to a vent. This one's for our evap, right there. And then there's these two long ones for like your emission stuff that route over here to this mess, the tan, the black plastic line. They don't go anywhere anymore. So I need to block off quite a bit of things with like nails or something. It doesn't really matter. But yeah, so we got like what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 vacuum lines that we don't need anymore, which is good. I also adjusted my cable a bit to try to get a little more tensioned for more throttle feel. Not really a lot of room to be adjusted here, which kind of sucks, but it needed a little bit of adjustment, so I did. So I'll find some screws and we'll see if we can get this stuff blocked off. Alrighty, I got everything plugged off here. I was able to find some random screws and whatnot throughout my new garage here, and they worked great to plug some of this stuff off. So that being said, I think we're gonna the first startup and see what happens. What I think of is I hope this pulls up and works. I'm not really sure how that's gonna work. We're gonna have to play with this a little bit. I hope these wire connectors are good. In case it doesn't work, I'll send it back. But I just got those two kind of plugged in there to power up our choke and cutoff solenoid. But yeah, theoretically everything else should work. So we'll see if we can prime up these filters and get this thing started. Here goes nothing. We have life. Okay. So our choke is barely pulled off, which is good. Our float level looks low to me. Man, it's hard to tell. Is our choke warming up? Well, we idled. This was opening a little bit, so that was a good sign. Our fast idle might not be set long enough, but initially I think our float's a little bit low, it looked like. It's just hard to tell with the camera. Oh, I guess you can kind of see it there. Fast forward to 1. There's a level. Maybe it'll go up, but yeah, we got fuel and it idled, so I'll play around with it, see what we can get. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It has been approximately 3 months to the day since the install of the A Premium Amazon carburetor on our 88 Corolla. So there it is in here. Since that night, I tried to start it. However, after the video camera turned off, it would not idle. It was doing the same exact thing that it was before I installed this carb to begin with. So I sat on it for a couple days and ended up figuring out that the polarity for my choke cutoff solenoid was switched. so it wasn't working at all. So when I switched the polarity to those two, everything worked like a charm. So yeah, I just had to switch the polarity of that, got it all wired in here, looking good, and that fixed it. And it ran and idled like a brand new 87 Corolla. A couple things I've had to adjust since was the TV cable pressure. There's a whole procedure for adjusting the length. You want to have, I think you have somebody floor it, and you want like a millimeter of that silver bit there to stick out, just like that, and you adjust your nuts to get to that length. I had to do that. My TV pressure was off, so it wasn't shifting when it should. Did that in like 10 minutes, shifts like a brand new one. Of course, I've had to tweak with the idle and the idle mixture, our idle being that one right there, and our idle mixture screw being that one right there. Super simple to adjust. You can feel it back here with your hand. You can take a screwdriver right there. There's plenty of room to adjust it instead of it being flush down there, so you couldn't even get a screwdriver on there. Super duper easy to adjust, and I've been driving it for 3 months. 26 miles to the gallon, just like that. I've had to put new fuel filters on it today. It's kind of starting to act a little funny, but otherwise, I'm impressed. This has been a really clean install, clean carburetor. It just works. It really just works. See, I've had to, block off a couple of these vacuum lines with all these plugs and whatnot, but yeah, I mean, for $100, I could not be happier, and it is 100% responsive. It works 100% as it should. So I'm gonna put this air lid back on. I just got to start it up here first and show you guys the float level and everything, how it sounds. And a few things have changed since I put that carburetor in. Got a new MR2 steering wheel. Got a FX16 gauge cluster with a tachometer. Still automatic though, so that kind of sucks, but I'll show you guys what this thing's made out of. I can turn up the idle a little bit. I've been messing with it today. Flow level's right below the middle there. It could probably be adjusted up, but I'm not gonna mess with it. I get such good gas mileage. As you can see, it revs clean, idles great. I couldn't be happier. We can go take it for a test drive and see how it rips. Let's go for a little drive here. I could probably, tune the idle a little bit better with a vacuum gauge. But for now, and for the past 3 months, I just did it by ear in my garage. And it's been doing great, so really can't complain about that. Stop's good. You can see it accelerates great. It's hard to hold a camera and drive like this. I got a rear brake shoe out or something in this. It hasn't stalled at a light, hasn't acted up stupidly at all. Runs great and shifts great. Coming to a stop. Idles, purrs like a kitten. But yeah, for $100, I literally could not be any happier. This is one of the best things I've ever spent my money on as far as a car, you know, a motor engine component goes. Especially from Amazon. I mean, you never know what you're gonna get. But for something like all the power's up in the 4,000 RPM range. I mean, it's great. This car is a blast to drive. I drive it every day in the summer. It's my summer daily. Now again, she's back on the road. Next thing will be the manual swap. But for now, the 3-speed automatic does just fine. And we're cruising about 3,000 RPM at 60 mile an hour, so, you know, beggars really can't be choosers. But yeah, I'm more than happy. This is a great addition to this car, and anyone who's having any car problems, just it'll be so worth it. Well, that being said, we'll catch you guys in the next one. You all have a lovely afternoon. Peace out.